It was supposed to be a perfect Saturday. Breakfast with family, taking the kids for swimming lessons. We ate sushi for lunch. Everything was going super fine. And then out of nowhere, by the end of the day, upon being delayed with groceries, I snap it. I snap it at the people that I love the most. I snapped it on my wife and my kids. Do you know why it was not because of that moment, but because something that was carrying deep down in me for a long time? Hi, I'm Henry Tax. I help curious minds to figure out what's next. And in this video, you're gonna watch the part 2 of The Shadow. It's a three-part series that we go a little bit deeper in the antagonist that we carry within and how we can master the relationship with it so we can actually be more productive and do things to change our life, especially when we get a little angry. But yeah, well, I was having an amazing day, and the grocery trip that day was supposed to be just in and out very quickly to grab a couple of holiday items. I don't know if it was super full or the fact that I was tired and I took a little longer than expected to fetch all the items that I needed. The journey home was weird. I was almost run over by a bus. I was driving a little bit distractedly, right? I was not in my best days as a driver. The fact that when I got home and I snapped at my family, I realized how insane that was. I was doing everything that I was doing out of love. I love them and I want to be home and share with them good stuff, groceries, good food that we had purchased. So why snapping at the people I love the most? It's really weird, that feeling that you cannot control and you find it bubbling, coming upwards, and you have to contend to the fact that you are not that perfect person that you're imagining yourself to be, and you have to actually acknowledge that you can be a mean person sometimes. That was for me a shock, especially upon a perfect day, finding a way to turn paradise into hell. One thing stung my heart the most was my little girl turning to me and saying, "Daddy, why you are yelling at Mom?" When she did that, I stopped, I took a deep breath, and if I remember the day I cried quietly because I realized how awful was the situation. That led me to think about why things had unfolded in the way that they did. The seed was planted much earlier during the day and during the week. Everything was happening fine, just fine. But the sequence of events, in terms of not finding the products that I was looking for, having to stop in 2 or 3 different supermarkets, angry drivers that are probably experienced the very same thing I was experiencing, the holiday anxiety. All of that was compounding and allowing a part of me, my emotions, and my back burner got under pressure. And that happened much earlier during the day. I remember earlier that day, a conversation that I had with a young man, son of a friend of mine, that's looking for a job. He hadn't asked for advice, but I gave it anyway, of course, because I'm more experienced and I'm successful in what I do professionally. So I felt myself that was a position to give that recommendation. But there was a more sinister reason why I was giving the advice. I realized that I was angry with that young man because he had done some things recently in the last couple of weeks that I did not appreciate. Myself was tricking me in thinking that I'm a good person giving that advice while there was a shadow lurking in my heart. I wanted to help, but I also wanted to project strength. When you confront the hard truths that are in your heart, you start to realize we are sometimes very complex people. Even the gesture of help sometimes has an origin that is not that pretty. That moment, after my daughter had asked why I was so angry and yelling at Mom, and then I started backtracing why I was so angry in that moment, what were the events that led me to be like that, maybe make me click and understand that the moment that I snapped at my family was actually out of guilt because I had done something earlier that day that I did not agree with. The gesture of helping that boy was not a true gesture of help, was a gesture of help mixed with bad feelings. And that tainted my whole heart, my whole day. And if I was not able to identify that and get an atonement with my own inner demons, probably I would just be snapping at people until I did. We are trying to make those changes in our life into great things in the world and being more productive when we are carrying all this load of things that we do and we do not agree with. And those things, they go to our shadow side. They go to the darkness of who we are. And if we do not acknowledge them and give them their due, they will come in the weirdest of moments and destroy your path to happiness. It is just weird and just the way the things are. And just to be clear, the boy, what he did was not something super awful. It was just the fact that we were volunteering in a certain volunteer work that we do. I was very tired in the day. And he called me out when he saw me standing doing nothing, asking me to start doing things and help. I was very angry because he did not know that I had woke up very early that day, that I had not slept because of my kids, and I had all sorts of inner turmoil of being called out in front of people by a young man. But it's not about him, it was about me. It was about my own pride of being exposed in front of people. And that happened almost a month before the event that I narrated to you guys, created the bad seed that induced me to explode with my own family that day. You see how things are tricky? So being able to backtrace events and find our path forward, super, super useful because it prevents us being robots doing things without noticing. The point is that bad feeling that I was carrying for a couple of weeks festered into anger against the people that I love the most. So that shadow work of backtracing things and understanding and coming together with the aspects of yourself that are not as objective or as nice to expose helps a lot to trace that spiral of events that will allow you to be much more precise, effective in control of your own life if you can spot them early on and acknowledge them and deal with them right there. In the next part of the Shadow Works, we're going to go deeper in how can we use that for a professional life, if you have a career, or if you are an entrepreneur, or if you are trying to start a new chapter in your life. Thank you, and I see you in part 3 of Shadow Works.